Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a super deluxe big old fat burrito. Yes, do you like a big fat burrito that's super deluxe? Well, in this one we're going to make roasted vegetables with sweet potatoes and peppers and jalapenos and mix in some black beans, and then we're going to put it in there with some quinoa mixed with cilantro. We're going to put a little hot sauce on there, and of course avocado, because you are deluxe. And when you come to my house, it is all about the flavor. Look at that big old deluxe burrito. We're going to make this, and I hope you'll come to my website, robinasbell.com, to check out more classes, more videos, more recipes, and my cookbooks. So let's get started. So we're going to get to work on this fantastic super deluxe burrito. I'm going to start just by cutting up some vegetables. It's pretty exciting stuff. Got a pepper, zucchini, and 2 of these red jalapenos, which I love to use because they're so colorful. And I'm just going to butcher a sweet potato. Now look at the size of this. It's easier to just tell people the size, say this is sort of a large one, than to tell you a weight, because a lot of people don't like weighing and will say they don't have a scale. You should get one, but that said, here we go. So see, I'm cutting a flat base. That way, the irregular shape of this sweet potato isn't going to be a problem. And then I'll flip this over. And again, you just want to cut off. You don't have to cut off all the skin, because the skin isn't bad for you. It's just a little coarse. So that's the gist of it. I've got this geometric shape, which is much more easy to cut. So I'll put it flat side down, and I'm going to cut. So I know some people will say, oh, it's too hard for me to cut through a vegetable like that, but just hold the tip down and just rock it through, and just keep your fingers out of the way. And then you can just kind of use the strength of both arms to get through the sweet potato. No problem. So then I'm going to cut this into what I call fry shapes, right? So sort of a French fry shape, strips. So once those were in slabs, we cut them into strips. And always keep those fingers out of the way. But see how much of this hand is doing the work. So you don't have to just count on the arm strength of one arm. I got 2 helping me do the work. And then this guy came out a little thick. So I'll just keep cutting these up a little bit. And that's basically how to cut up a sweet potato. You could do the same thing to make sweet potato fries. I'm going to put this into this 13 by 9 roasting pan, and I'm going to drizzle it with a little bit of oil, about a teaspoon and a half, let's say, and toss it to coat it with oil. And then on that, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of chipotle pepper, give it a lovely smoky taste, and about half of the total salt for the recipe, which I think is about 3/4 of a teaspoon total. Now, this is an important part, is I'm covering this with foil. Now, oftentimes you'll roast things without the foil. I'm going to roast the rest of the vegetables without the foil, but it's going to steam them, keep the moisture in so these sweet potatoes don't dry out. So into the 400-degree oven, and I'm setting the timer for 20 minutes. So then the vegetables, the rest of the vegetables, I've got a big honkin' red bell pepper here. I'm just cutting the flesh right off of that. And of course this is my compost bowl. I always save my veggie scraps for compost. And this just gets cut into strips again, just like the sweet potato. And of course you can use a green pepper, although I prefer red. Red peppers are in fact ripe green peppers. So if you find that green peppers seem indigestible to you, it's because they are in fact not very ripe. So I cut those strips in half into a roasting pan. They go. And now I've got a kind of smallish zucchini, and I'm going to cut that again into strips in a much similar way. And I like you don't want to use a humongous zucchini unless you grew one in your garden and you just got to use it up. But this one will have a less seedy interior and not so much water, which will make your burrito sloppy. So we cut that into strips, put that in there, and I'm just using half of this red bell pepper. You can throw the whole thing in if you want to. This is how to cut a jalapeno. Now this is a very mild pepper really, but I like to do this method. See how I'm cutting the walls of the pepper off, and then I've got the core and the seeds, and I'm just going to throw those in there. And I'll do that with this one also. So I start off, again we're cutting that flat side, lay it down, and so most of the heat is in the membrane and the seeds, and that's all going into the bowl. Now if this were a really, really hot pepper, I would want to have gloves on because I'm touching the cut flesh. But again, I'm cutting this into strips, which are going to go into the roasting pan with the other vegetables. So I'm just going to make them into this pretty long, thin strips into the pan. And then I've got a large onion that I already cut up. And I'm going to put that into the pan with 3 to 4 large cloves of garlic, because garlic is good. And a little bit more salt, the other half of the salt, and then the remaining olive oil. Oh, yum, 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 yum. This doesn't just look delicious already. So then this is going to go into the oven as well, and we'll roast this for 20 minutes. Give it a stir. And we want to just roast it till it's nice and browned in spots. So here we have our beautiful vegetables, and they're going into the oven. So about 25 minutes later, 25 to 30, we've got our vegetables out, and you can see I've let them cool a little bit or they would be too hot to touch. So here are the roasted vegetables, the zucchini, the onion, the garlic, the peppers, the jalapeno. There's a little browning, but not much. They're just sweet and soft. And I'll just scrape them right out of the pan. Then, here are my beautiful sweet potatoes. And those also, I roasted them, covered for 20 minutes, and then I uncovered it to get some nice browning. So you can see there's some nice browning on the bottom. And in that goes. Oh yeah, can't you just taste it? And then I've got my cooked quinoa, which is here in this pot. And I've let that cool a little bit also, but it's still pretty warm. So I'm going to mix up the vegetables with some black beans. Now I've got one 15-ounce can of black beans, drained and rinsed, as we say in recipe language. And we'll go ahead and put that in there. Toss it around. Now at this point, a little sprinkle of salt wouldn't hurt. But it's sort of to taste. So if you're sort of a low sodium person, we've got some salt in the vegetables, and that'll do it. If you want a little more, that's all right too. Help season those beans. So look at that, the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful veggies. Now I've got some cilantro, about half a cup, that I'm going to mince. I'm just rolling that up a little bit, compressing it with my fingers so that I can carefully mince it. Just give it a good chop. Just hold your knife down again with your hand. Keep that point down. And just whack, 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 whack. And here we go. Always turn it over if you want to scrape, because sharpening your knives is a lot of work. And you should be sharpening your knives. And you don't want to dull them by rubbing them back and forth on your cutting board. Okay. Now that it's all mixed up, out of the pan and into a mix, I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit more salt. And I've got my quinoa. Putting a little salt in that too. And I will stir it up. Just a little bit more seasoning. And for each one of these guys, I'm going to have about 1/4 of an avocado. So I'm going to cut this in half. Pop it open. Oh, this one's a little bit stiff, but it'll do. I love it when it comes out perfect for the video, but sometimes it's not quite ripe. So if you wanted to, you could put a little bit of lime on this, but since I'm eating it right away, I'm just going to go with it the way it is. This is a great meal prep item. I mean, you can make ahead of time and put it in the refrigerator. Just wrap it in individual little bundles wax paper or plastic wrap. So we've got our avocado in the shell. Got myself some big old whole wheat tortillas. Gonna put in about half a cup of this beautiful quinoa with cilantro and about a cup of my vegetable and black beans, and then about a quarter of an avocado in there. And then because I like a little extra heat, I'm going to put on a sprinkle of hot sauce. And then we just fold it in from the ends and roll it up, because it's a big old burrito. And here we have a big fat roasted veggie burrito. It's going to be so tasty. So I hope that you will make this beautiful roasted vegetable burrito, because it is just going to be a family favorite. You're going to love packing it and taking it to work. And if you still have coworkers, they're going to be jealous. They're going to be looking over your shoulder saying, "What the heck is that?" I'm just going to have a little bite right now. Peppers, jalapeno, quinoa, cilantro. Absolutely delicious. So please enjoy this beautiful and delicious big fat deluxe burrito, because when you come to my house, it's all about the flavor, baby. See you next time.